So he FaceTimed me, and I immediately knew something was wrong because usually when he FaceTimes me, his face is always going to be in the phone. You know, he was trying to keep me from worrying because he was worried, and I could tell he was very emotional. He said, "Mama, I'm not going to be able to play anymore. I'm not going to be able to play anymore."
I'm from Earle, Arkansas. Population right now is probably about 2,800 people. For me, I just grew up more into the outside world, nature, playing basketball, football outside. I'm just spending time with my family. It's pretty much been in a small town, ain't too much to do.
Our school didn't come with the resources that bigger schools came with. So there was no quarterback coach, there was no offensive coordinator. There's a coach and a couple of supporting coaches. Gerry would come home, go on YouTube, and learn different things that he wanted to learn about football. He taught himself how to play quarterback. He didn't make any excuses. He just went out and found the resources for himself, and he utilized them.
If their best player was a running back, Gerry was in the hole. If their best player was a wide receiver, Gerry was at corner. Whatever. I mean, he was that type of kid. Like, I mean, he was a true man amongst boys on the football field. And even through minor injuries and aches and pains, he still came to work every day. No complaining, no issues.
At first, it was a big adjustment moving from Earle, Arkansas to Texas. I was only used to my community. So for me, getting there, it was just about working hard, getting a degree, just finding a way to impact and inspire those around me, whether it was a coach, a player, a student in the classroom with me, or a kid that came to a camp, whatever it was just about continuing to spread my story.
His first time touching the field, that was like an adrenaline rush. It was just like mind-blowing. I'm like, oh my God, he's really doing it. We would stay up 2 o'clock in the morning talking about what he wanted to do, and to see him actually go in, get some snaps, like, that was amazing.
Seeing him enjoy that moment of winning the Sugar Bowl as a mom, you're proud. You know, you want to see your children accomplish their goals, and that was a goal of his.
After the 2021 season, I came back to Baylor, went to spring ball, and me and the coaches decided that it was best to part ways, and I wanted a new start, a fresh start. So I ended up going to South Florida.
It's a new team. He's getting accustomed to playing with these guys. You know, you have to get in the rhythm. I prayed for him, prayed good. I'm like, Lord, please don't let him get injured. Just let him have a great game.
It was about 3 to 4 minutes into the second quarter. And as I ran, I decided to after I got the first down, to go down. And the kid from Tulane, the corner, dove into my shoulder.
One play changed the game. Gerry is the type of person, since he was a kid, he can be bleeding, he can dislocate something. It doesn't matter the injury. He's still gonna act like nothing's going on. So for him to get hit and he stayed down that long, I looked at my mom and I told her, he's injured.
You automatically hear silence, go across the stadium, and we're like, okay. We're counting. I'm like, okay, baby, you gotta get up, you gotta get up.
For me, it was like I always wanted to be that player, that person that was the light of the room, that was the comfort when things were tough. You could look at me. And now I was in a situation I've never been in. Now, all eyes on me while I'm injured as well. So it's like, for me, how could I handle that? And that was Saturday, so that Monday, I go get my MRI, my CT scan, go do everything, the x-ray, come back the next day, you tore your labrum. As a quarterback, people tell you don't want to tear your labrum. As a quarterback, as a thrower, because I was told that was a career-ending injury.
That's the worst I've seen him, from being frustrated to being disappointed and just having this gloomy energy. He wasn't his self, because it's like, what do I do? What am I gonna do?
I've never been at such a low point in my life, so I really didn't know how to handle it. I went into a phase I wanted to get through it on my own. And there came a time, at about 6 months, when I realized I couldn't do it alone. And as a man, we always want to do everything on our own. We always want to be the provider, the helper, the smile, the joy, the ones that everybody looks for comfort in. And for me, about 6 months, I realized that I needed help. I've never been the one to ask for help, but I needed help. I sat in the car on FaceTime with my mama for about 3 hours, crying, telling her I was done. I don't want to play anymore. I'm tired of rehabbing. I can't keep doing this. Like, the injury won. And sitting out there talking to her, she was just so positive.
God didn't bring you this far just to bring you this far. This is just a bump in the road. It's just a detour. What you have to focus on now is learning yourself better, strengthening your relationship with God, and then also saying, okay, God, what lesson am I to learn from this? What are you trying to teach me about myself?
I did everything to avoid hitting rock bottom because I was scared. I didn't know what it looked like to fail. So kind of dove into my faith even more. As my faith grew, I didn't feel alone anymore. I felt like I finally started to feel like I can overcome this.
It was all him. He had to sit with himself. So whatever God was showing him at that time, it was for him. So he really got a chance to take a deep dive, and I think it was one of the best things that happened to him. I hate that he got injured, but I think it was one of the best things that happened to him.
The version that the world got, of Gerry, before the injury, that was a pretty solid guy. But I think he's learned more about himself. I think that bar's been set even higher with him being able to return to football. I think he's going to play with a different intensity. His story is just beginning.
I know deep down inside he's competitive, but the way he carries himself is that my best days are ahead of me. I look at him every day, I'm like, man, this guy, you would think that he's fresh off of winning a Super Bowl. The way he carries himself, the smile.
I like to tell people, don't ever give up on a dream that you're chasing. Don't give up. Just because something hard happens, don't mean it's over. Hard things happen to everybody. Whatever positions I'm in, they're going through some difficulties and some hardships. Accept those hardships and attack those hardships because it's going to build you up in the long run. You'll be a better person coming out of it.